yeah, the conference was Tuesday, Wednesday, so yesterday and day before. Yeah, it was good. I think always good to be here. Next week's obviously, a super conference. But yeah, great, good awesome. Energy. Like sold out. It was sold out. So good to see full attendance and very good sign that sort of interest is still very, very strong.
Nice. How was the Korean barbecue at Udine?
Yeah, had a couple of good meals. Thank you.
Good.
What's the attendance been like at the conference? Oh, you said sold out, didn't you?
Yeah, it was sold out, Joe. From an attendees perspective, as I say, super busy. From an exhibitor's perspective, not so busy. There were only about 14 or so exhibitors. But KBW, Korea Blockchain Week, is very well known for side events, and then obviously the speaker panels, etc. And those were very, very good. So
okay.
Yeah, good energy.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
When people join this, do they join via the Banter Bubbles? Do they become a listener on the Zoom call, or do they become a listener through an outsourced thing on, like, how does it work, Josh? Or anyone?
Sorry, Joe, just repeat that.
Like, if I want to listen to this, because I'm on the call, if I want to listen to this through Banter Bubbles, do I click on a Zoom link and join via that, or how does it work?
Yeah, it actually plays through the application. So you go onto the app. There's a menu option, and you can actually connect through the Zoom call gets like broadcasted on the app. So it's like watching a YouTube video, basically.
Okay.
Or like a Twitter Spaces.
Nice. Okay. Who are we waiting for? Should we task the listeners with an assignment, Joe? And what sort of assignment? Should we get them to quote copy Rand's tweet and post it under Rovers? Good, because he did say on the show that next time Rover copies, he wants everyone to go and comment the original tweet, and he fucking copied again. So I don't know, listeners.
Well, he did it again.
Yeah, he did it again, like word for word, but this time Rand, not me.
Maybe he's playing a game. Like, surely he knows he's doing it, and people are watching, right?
I actually think it's a simple miscoordination in their team. It's like, I think they just didn't communicate. The team didn't see. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Team. He wakes up in the morning, schedules 14 tweets, and look at Twitter all day.
Oh, okay. I thought he had like a team.
I'd say
no, he just wakes up in the morning, writes 30 tweets, schedules them, and goes, flies by a beach and eats food and drinks and chills and makes money by a bit. And yeah,
well, I mean, it looks like he's.
I know he's.
I mean, it looks like he's made his morning routine much easier, and he's not writing tweets anymore. He's just copying.
Honestly, I'm actually jealous. I'll tell you why I'm jealous. I spend hours a day worrying about tweet ideas, researching tweets, putting them together, and whereas I could just be copying someone else's, getting the same engagement, getting the same outcome.
I'm thinking the same
well, not
thing,
really.
Miles.
That's why you've got one of the most respected Twitter accounts in crypto, and he's a branded copycat. So big difference.
I know, I'm kidding, but it's just funny. Like I'm jealous. I wish I could spend an hour a day and get 1,000 followers.
Miles, can I repurpose your tweets, bro? It'll help me grow.
Yeah. If you I'll interact more with your tweets. That should help.
At least I'm asking you, right? So now it's okay.
Yeah, at least you're asking.
The funny thing with
if you want to take inspiration, it's fine. Just don't copy it word for word. That's the problem.
The funny thing is he's working really smartly, but just the wrong way.
Yeah. It's fucking smart. I might create an alt account and just do the same thing and grow it to 100K. Be easy.
He's
But no, I could never do that. It's just morally not right in my opinion.
Nice. Okay, we should have everyone here. Sheldon's here. Everyone's here. Nice. Ran obviously can't speak for the first 10 or 15 minutes he's at a play. His kid's school concert.
Is he listening though? He can't speak, but is he listening?
Of course he's listening. Ran wouldn't miss this meeting for anything.
Hi, Ran.
Hi, Ran.
Wait. So you're at your kid's play, but you're listening to the research.
Can we see the play? Can I just turn the video on so we can see the play as well?
But yeah, he wouldn't miss this. But yeah, I suppose from a show.
Oh my God, he is in here. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's here.
He's itching to speak right now. He really wants to say something.
I'm at a school concert, guys. I'm at the most important meeting of my life.
Can we see the concert, man? Can we see the concert?
Oh God.
Yeah, bring us the
Josh,
alpha, bro.
Let me play the video, Josh. Just enable video.
It's quite early for a school concert, 9:30. I suppose
I think it's important to get them out of the way early. I think.
From a show perspective, we actually killed everyone else yesterday. BitBoy does well for views. I don't know what it is. Like it's just it works.
We're called BitBoy Banter now. That's what we're renaming our channel.
The title was very clever. Ben Armstrong just killed BitBoy Crypto, so it was basically playing off his tweet saying BitBoy is no more and he's now Ben Armstrong and he wants to be referred to as Ben Armstrong. He actually mentioned on his spaces yesterday that he was meeting up with that TJ guy to try and resolve whatever issues they had. And he seemed pretty confident that things would maybe go his way, but he then started, you could sort of see towards the end of the spaces, he was getting a bit angry again. And he was like starting to say, oh, I've got all this stuff on XYZ people and I don't want to go there, but I will go there. So I don't know. I suppose there's a chance he goes back to the BitBoy channel, but it seems like he's started a new Twitter, started a new YouTube. He seems like he's going the way he wants to go, but he's still a bit of a liability, I suppose, because he does get angry and he will fight back. And he did say that if he doesn't come to any sort of compromise, he will be in this long lawsuit and suing stuff for years and months, and it'll be bad for everyone. But yeah, he works on YouTube for tiles and titles, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if he doesn't get angry, he won't get views. I mean, that was his whole sort of stick. It's like everybody's playing a character, and that was his. And if he just becomes like a normie guy, I don't think the amount of alpha he has would be enough for people to go back to his show.
Yep. He did say though that he's no longer playing this ego play. Well, like it's hard for people to say that and then because they will eventually go back because that's who they are. But he did say that he's leaving all that ego stuff behind and he's now Ben Armstrong. He's not BitBoy. He doesn't want to be referred to. He thought it was weird that people would call him BitBoy on the street, so he wants to try and get rid of that brand.
I mean, that being the case, it's the quickest spiritual recovery I think I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said I don't trust it because it's all fake.
Spiritual?
He's still going strong with the whole Ben token thing. I mean, even in his current bio, he's talking about Ben, the token.
Yeah,
Ben.
he needs to get rid of that thing. It's
actually gone to zero. I mean,
yeah. I plotted yesterday on the chart like when he parted ways with that Ben.ETH guy, when he actually left BitBoy Crypto, and now when he started his new thing. Like the chart does move based on his actions. Like it's up 40% from the bottom since when he's saying that he was gonna start as Ben Armstrong again. So it just looks so bad.
26% today, huh? Wow.
Yep. 10 mil market cap. At the peak, I don't even know. I can't remember what it was at the peak, but like it was pretty high.
I think it was like 100 mil.
Yeah, it was over that. It was large.
My God.
Yeah.
But I just don't think
I'm pretty sure I got close to like 140 mil market cap, I think it was.
But you'd presume that he will add some sort of, I don't know if he has already, he will add some sort of utility to it. When I say utility, it'll be you get...
I was just going to say, what type of utility can you possibly expect from this human?
Well, you can add like tickets to meet and greets, or I don't know, if he releases another book, you get a free book, or like, yeah, it doesn't sound great.
Access to the vendor.
To his diehards, it's something.
Everyone wants to
Yeah, I
join
can't wait
Vendor.
for the. I can't
Jesus,
wait
I
for the
better
new
buy.
book.
If that's the case, I better start buying now.
Yeah, the book will be How to Beat Drug Addiction in 3 days.
But he's pretty. Anyway, yeah, that's the story. He's trying to fix things. I don't know if he will fix things, but Ram was making a fair point. Surely there's an LLC or something, and he's actually 67% owner of the company as a whole. So he does have some sort of voting rights, but it's just like these guys were kind of playing behind his back a bit. But we can't believe what Ben is saying. We don't know what's true and not. So I presume we'll get some sort of public, either comment or lawsuit or something that'll bring the truth to the front. But yeah, that's pretty much the story on Ben. He's back. He does well on YouTube. We killed our competitors yesterday. I'm not going to say competitors, but our views are very good, to be honest. And I suppose the other massive story that George actually did yesterday, which is kind of annoying, but everyone was going to do it, was the accounting approval thing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I suppose I'll go
And then
to
the
you,
ETH
Ben.
news came out like straight after that. So we had
But
like
the accounting thing
Yeah.
is, correct me if I'm wrong, if I buy $100,000 worth of Bitcoin in January 1 and I'm filing for my earnings or whatever on my books on like March something, I have to mark it down. I used to have to mark it down to the lowest point of the quarter when we're filing for them. But now I mark it down to fair value whenever I'm actually accounting, am I? It's not
Yeah,
lowest point
it
of the
works
quarter.
on I
The
don't
main
know
thing
whether it's
is
quarter to
that, guys,
quarter or periods, but yeah.
the main thing about this is that companies that are taking debt, which is most companies that are issuing corporate bonds, the problem is that when their earnings fluctuate or when their earnings seem low, the debt coverage ratio, which is the ability for them to pay their debt obligation, decreases, and therefore their debt becomes very, very, very expensive. And the reason why it becomes very expensive is because of the write-down of the Bitcoin. So it's like a company would be stupid to do it because your debt may become junk just because of the fluctuations in the Bitcoin price. But now it's not like that.
It's a great point. That's excellent point.
Okay, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
that's a good angle. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to give like a TLDR of what it is, Ben? Like what it actually means and what the before and after looks like?
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken about it a lot, but essentially, before you had to mark it down, right? So you couldn't, if the price of Bitcoin increased since you had bought it, you couldn't write it up. So there was like no upside to holding Bitcoin on your balance sheets. Now it's basically, you can write it up, essentially. So if you've made a profit, you can reflect that.
Okay. And people seem to think that it's only for Bitcoin, but the one article that I did read from Seeking Alpha, by the way, there hasn't been many articles on this. I don't know why, but it did say it's for the entirety of crypto. So I don't think it's solely Bitcoin. I think it's crypto as a whole. And this is the initiative that
I was actually wondering about that because it makes sense for Bitcoin, to be honest.
Yep.
For the rest of the guys, I don't know if it actually makes sense. Like a VC investment in tokens. Like is the fair value really the fair value? But I guess if it is, it's amazing. So win for crypto.
Yep.
I think it makes sense. I mean, they're all assets at the end of the day.
Yeah, possibly the biggest news of the year because he's actually really now created a new use case for Bitcoin, which is the hedge of the balance sheets, which didn't really exist before because you couldn't use it. Now you can use it.
Yeah, it's really big. And it really made no sense before, to be honest. Like it was a bizarre thing.
But it was definitely stopping people from doing, as Ryan said, like putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet because you literally couldn't write it up.
There was no upside. There was literally no upside.
And then Miles made a fair point that the ETH ETF news also came out briefly after that. So, and then obviously Ram put out a tweet and Rover copied it. But yeah, there is some really good news piling up here. It's not moving the market, which isn't a good sign. Yeah, it'll all look
horrible
great,
sign, I must say.
Yeah, ETH pretty much retraced that full ETF news. It went from like 1615 to 1670, and now it's back down to 1635. There will be others to follow.
Joe, the only thing interesting to add here, which I think a lot of people missed initially when the news came out, is that actually Vanyek had applied for Ether spot ETF back in May 2021. So they were the first to apply, and so now this is the second one. So I guess that was what I vaguely remember when I was researching about it. Whenever I was,
but this is a new filing, isn't it? Vanek?
No, Vanek hasn't filed now, but their file has been open since 2021.
But isn't it a new? Didn't they refile? I read somewhere that they refiled. Let me check this.
No, so I saw the official post from Vanyek's Twitter account, and in there I could see the date. The date was May
5th of the 7th, 2021.
Yeah. So
Filing date. So they initially launched. I don't know the thing, what the actual legal stance is on it, but they launched it's like a 19B4 now, which basically puts a certain deadline that the SEC has to meet to actually approve, deny, or delay. Their first filing, which was 2 or 3 hours beforehand, was just the initiative of it. Now they filed a second filing, which basically says, hey, you have to respond within X amount of days. And these two ETF experts are saying that the final deadline for these filings will probably be around April or May of next year. Sort of like the ETFs. The ETFs deadline are now, like the final deadline that the SEC has is February or March. The ETH ones are now April, May.
Who makes these decisions? It's funny, these deadlines. It coincides with the halving so well.
Yeah, it's 45 days. Each deadline is 45 days. But
right.
We've seen now that they'll probably take the whole amount for the majority of them, and people are saying, oh, BlackRock are going to file next. I just don't think so. Why would they? They're focused on Bitcoin. Larry Fink has never spoken on ETH. Yeah, this gets the ball in motion, but there's a very good chance that the SEC just go, no, this is not happening just yet. Let's focus on Bitcoin for the next year or two.
Yeah, makes sense, actually.
Because bear in mind, there's been no ETH futures ETFs even approved. And there's been, whatever, 16 filings of them. They haven't even had a chance to look at them, and now they're already jumping the spot. It's not going to, I just don't think it's as big news as we all say, but it's something, like there's an initiative.
7 months is a long time, Joe. 7 months is a long time.
That's true, especially in crypto.
I mean, honestly, I don't think that they're going to push anything through until they've accumulated enough where they feel like they have some sense of control over the fact.
Who's they?
Yeah. Well, I'm done after this one, so.
Angela, you'll have to mute.
Sorry. I'm working out at the same time. Shit.
No problem. What were you saying, James?
I mean, like it's behooved the government to be accumulating as well. Like, let's not be stupid.
The government accumulating ETH.
Bitcoin, ETH, major currencies, they would be doing it for sure.
Why?
Well, because if it's eventually going to be a centralized currency, or that is what it is that they're pushing crypto to be, then they're going to want to have a major stakehold in the fact.
I agree. What I just hate about these conversations is like the fact that there's just no way we could ever like substantively prove it. So it's kind of like almost like a moot point for now.
That ship is sailed. I mean, which is exactly why, apart from Bitcoin and ETH, maybe they can accumulate anything else, but like considering the market that ship has sailed now. I mean,
the catch-22 with regulation is that we need it in terms for the markets to resume up in the way that it is that we like, and the catch-22 part of it is that when regulation does come in, it means that the government has a stronger foothold. But it's inevitable. That's what has to happen. So.
But I don't think that they're literally going to accumulate Bitcoin and ETH. I think
maybe they can't. I mean, the wallets, like, even if they do somehow manage to do that, I mean, I'm pretty sure if one wallet gets like extraordinary amounts of ETH, like somebody starts buying, people will know. People will figure it out. I just think it's this hopium that we have, that we want everybody on our team. Like because we want price to go up. We believe that, oh, the government is going to buy, CIA is going to buy, this is going to buy, that's going to buy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it matters for the price whether they're buying or not. It's not about price for them. It's about control. So.
I mean, I would say it's a very bad price for them to buy, because when you're buying something, the amount you get is proportional to the amount of money you spend. And if you're buying like $1,900 ETH and then $30,000 Bitcoin, it definitely matters. I mean, price is probably the only thing that matters when you're buying.
Well, it's a very similar time at the moment, actually, compared to last year. When we started between August and November of last year, there was a lot of bullish news, a lot of big partnerships like MasterCard and Visa, and all these integrations were happening, and the markets were still going sideways and down. It feels very much similar to what was happening this time last year.
Yeah, these sort of news always comes out. Like we usually see these sort of news near the top. Not
exactly
down here, but this could be a top. But yeah, it's there's some good news.
I feel like we're pretty close to the bottom. I think there will be another sizable washout wherever that ends us up is I think where
what do you base that on, or just like a cosmic feeling that's sent to you by the stars?
No, I mean, watch Eric Crown. He says the same thing. Watch Ron Walker. He says the same thing. Like technical analysis is all saying the exact same thing. And if you look at
Sheldon's technical analysis is saying it's going up.
Okay, well, I guess he's in competition with Eric Crown and Ron Walker for sure then.
Yeah. No, I mean,
the only good thing about technical analysis is you can always find at least one person in the world who will have the same thoughts on the market as you do. It's just about finding, and that's why I think a lot of people associate technical analysis with technical analysis, because they're like, oh, I want price to do this. They find like there's like 50 YouTubers out there. You'll find somebody who will sort of match your thinking with with what they're saying.
Okay, well, I mean, you can just make it really simple and jump on the weekly.
We're having a brainless discussion now where the technical analysts are. Let's talk about the actual alpha in the market. What's actually going on? So there's ETF news, but apparently it's not the actual filing. It's just a pre-filing almost. Is that right?
Wait, no, it is a filing. No, that they did file.
They haven't filed that 19. They haven't filed. They did. They did.
Yeah.
Yesterday I read they only filed the first part or something.
Yeah. No, they did. They both. The first one was just like an initiative. The second one is putting a deadline on it, which will probably be 45 days from whenever the SEC actually acknowledge it. So, then final deadlines are going to be April, May of next year.
Yeah, and I think ARK's been quite clever. They went in first.
Yep.
And so I guess what they're saying is that BlackRock are coming straight afterwards. And I guess they probably wanted to be first.
For an ETH ETF though?
Why not? Why did they file for Bitcoin ETF? Because they want to capture the market. Why? Because they believe in the tokenization of assets, which is not going to happen on Bitcoin.
Okay.
Right.
That's fair.
So I mean, it's coming. Cassie Wood's very smart. I think she went in first. Second thing is, I'm almost sure that the ETF is going to get approved this year, like all of them at once, because I was thinking about it. The SEC are now in a corner with Graysscale, because if they say to Graysscale, oh sorry, we now declining it based on other reasons, then they can go to court again and say, but hold on, you gave us your denial, you didn't list any other reasons, and the reasons that you did list are gone. So then they can go back to the court and say, look, you're not treating us fairly, because if you had these objections, why didn't you give us a list of concise objections, right? So I think that they have the SEC in a corner now. They're threatening with a legal suit. You could hear it was, the investors are losing money. This could be avoided. That's the kind of speak that you put in a legal letter where you're saying, I know that I've got a legal case against you. Second thing is they're saying the reason for their disapproval is no longer valid. So that in law it doesn't even exist anymore. Basically, it doesn't exist. It's wiped out completely. So they got to approve an ETF. Now, if they approve the Graysscale ETF, the rule change is consistent for all of the ETFs. So they can't now approve the Graysscale and not approve the others. So in essence, I think that before the end of the year, we get all the Bitcoin ETFs approved. And then once the Bitcoin ETF is approved, there's no reason that the SEC can deny an ETH ETF. Because, and that's what Cassie was thinking here. She's saying, look, if they are forced to approve a Bitcoin ETF, which is going to happen, and both Bitcoin and ETH are deemed to be commodities, right? You can't, what are you going to say? There's an exchange surveillance agreement, but hold on, it's exactly the same. You've actually just approved an ETH futures ETF. It's already an ETH futures ETF, right? So it's the same argument, right?
Yes.
Both are commodities.
Didn't you say a couple of weeks ago something about the staking and the yield and stuff? Does it like it's all a bit messy with these?
It's a bit messy. It is a bit messy, but doesn't mean that the SEC can deny it because it's messy. It's just a yield bearing. It's a yield bearing commodity, which is I think I mean I don't know of any other yield bearing commodities, right? Because they're saying ETH is a commodity, but ETH also gives yield. So I don't know. I've never experienced like another yield bearing commodity, and I've never unless you guys can help think of one. But I don't know any other commodity that you use to create yield. You passively use to create yield. Is there one? I don't think there's one. I mean, like platinum, oil, copper, millies. I don't know. You know, like those are all commodities that and they don't generate yield. So
no.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think, you know, when I look at this, I'm going, hold on a second. I think that a Bitcoin ETF is inevitable. And then I think that an ETH ETF is going to be very, very, very tough for the SEC to deny unless they come out and say it's security.
Yep.
So there's it's a big move. There's big, like Cassie Wood's moves here are very, very, very logical, like super logical. She's playing 3D chess.
I can't remember what number filing she was on the Bitcoin ETF. I'm fairly sure she was second or third as well. So she's always early to these things.
Yeah, she's playing 3D chess. She's playing 3D chess.
I think she was the first one to apply for the Bitcoin spot ETF, and then she refiled it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So I think it's going to be. I think it's. Watch this space because she's being very, very, very smart. She's playing 3D chess, and I think we are going to get all the Bitcoin ETFs approved this year. I think BlackRock, I think Graysscale, I think all of them are just going to be approved at once this year. The SEC is not going to have a choice.
I agree with you. Now that they've started the ETF ones, the SEC are like, you know, okay, so they're onto that already. Shit, you know.
Yeah.
And then trillions of dollars.
Better give them something in the meantime to shut them up.
A lot of egg on Gary Gensler's face. Lots of egg. Yolk and the yellow part, also the protein, everything.
When do you think the Fed will pivot? Do you have an estimate on that?
Fed pivot. Jesus, haven't heard that in a while. It's like, well, like when we do a CPI next week.
There was a time when that is all we used to talk about.
Do you remember that? Yeah. We used to talk about
yesterday a Fed speaker said that, you know, we are very close to interest rate peak, and maybe this is the interest rate peak. So next year maybe, I guess. I mean, but no one knows, right? It depends on the next data. Every single time they say, oh, when the next data comes out, we're going to tell what happens.
Yep.
So,
well, in the last six Fed pivots, 5 of them have happened in February of the new year.
I suppose if we're basing a Fed pivot off like a,
there's no reason for the Fed to pivot. There's just no reason. Nothing's broken. Everything's fine. Employment's still high. Bankruptcies are fine. Property sector's just cooling down a little bit. There's zero reason for the Fed to pivot.
Yeah, they're not going to raise necessarily. If you're basing it off like market probabilities, they're kind of pushing this higher for longer narrative, as in at the next 6 meetings, or 5 meetings, it's due to be no rate hike, just holding.
There's no reason for them to pivot. Think about it. What is the reason for them to? Yeah. All right. What else? So what else is there? There's ETF, ETH ETF. There is the Michael Saylor news. What else is happening on the market?
What do you think about the Arkham actually being of good use.
Sorry, actually,
yeah,
I'm gonna. I think that is it's pretty interesting that what we just said regarding the Fed pivots. 5 happened in February. Like you could talk about if we assume that it's gonna happen in February, that then means that we're gonna break things in the next 5 months. And what are the things that might break, and how does that impact crypto? Because we still have like 5 months to break shit. You know, like I know it's not broken now.
Bro, the Fed's not pivoting in February. Nothing's broken. There's zero reason for them to pivot. What's the reason?
Yeah, but that could be the discussion. What should break?
The Fed don't pivot for fun. The Fed don't pivot for fun.
You don't think the question is what can break? So what should break for the what can and should break in the next 5 months for the Fed to pivot?
Nothing will break in the next 5 months.
Oh, you don't think so?
No. What will break? There's not going to be a bank run. There's not going to be a property collapse. What's going to break in the next?
But why do you think there won't be a property collapse, for example, or a bank run? Like what are you basing that on?
Because there can't be a bank run because the Fed basically said we're going to backstop all depositors. Therefore, the depositors have no incentive to run on the banks, and the property market is just having a healthy cool off. And after 2008, with all the new mortgage conditions, it's very, very, very hard to have a property collapse again because they put in a whole lot of measures to prevent property collapses. Like,
but then how do you think what will it take for the Fed to pivot? Like, how will this end then?
Something to break. More interest rate hikes. I'm willing to make 100% chance that there's going to be at least one more rate hike. Just I don't know when, but I can tell you 100% chance there's going to be one more rate hike. I don't know if it's going to be now or in 3 months or in 6 months. There's going to be one more rate hike at least. Because there's no reason for the Fed not to rate hike. And
I think it's
going
to get very interesting going into December.
If you know,
yeah, but then how do you see it playing out? Like, how do you see the whole hard landing, soft landing, everything that we talk about? How do you see that playing out if nothing is breaking?
We're living through a soft landing. We literally are living through a soft landing. They're lowering inflation with increasing rates without breaking anything so far.
Do you think they will be able to pull this off?
Sorry?
Do you think they will be able to pull commodity charts lately?
Yeah, they are pulling it off. So far they have pulled it off. Have they broken anything? No. Is the inflation down? Yes. Has the market crashed? No. So that's great. They've pulled it off until further notice.
Interesting. Awesome.
Yeah. Until further. I mean, look, a lot of it depends on what happens now. Let's see what happens next.
I think that the point that I wanted to make is that I think it's in everybody's mind, like, are we going to have a big down? We see, stocks and all commodities, and we see what's happening in China with the real estate and all that. And we're just thinking, what is it that we should keep an eye on to know that it's not going to be soft landing?
Fefe, when was the last market crash?
Like crypto?
2020.
No, that wasn't a crash. I'm talking to you real market.
2008.
COVID wasn't a crash.
Okay. COVID, because of Black Swan. When was the market crash before that? When was the market crash before that?
2008-9.
2008. 12 years before that, there was a market crash because the market structure was broken. When was the market crash before that? 2001.
Something.
2001, because of the internet bubble. Market crashes happen like everyone expects a crash, and inevitably market crashes don't happen. Small corrections happen. Like when I say small corrections, what we've experienced now, well, not anymore because it's back up to normal. The problem is that everyone's expecting a crash. Right now, since I was, I don't know, fucking 10 years ago, people have been talking about another credit event. There's no credit event, hasn't happened. Since 10 years ago, people told me China was going to collapse. China never collapsed. People told me Japan was going to collapse. Japan has never collapsed. Saying there's not going to be a crash. Market is just going to go up and going to go down. There's not going to be a crash. Unless...
Yeah, but how can but the question still remains. It's like they have all this quantitative easing that's going to come back. They print a lot of money. They have trillions of dollars in debt. Like, where does it end then? If there is no crash, how does this whole thing going to get fixed?
How long has the US had trillions of dollars worth of debt?
Say it again?
How long has the US had trillions of dollars worth of debt?
For a while now.
Probably
just growing.
Well, they printed like over a third of their currency in COVID.
Yeah, but I'm saying This is normal shit, guys. This is normal shit that happens to markets. Now,
Well,
in markets, you always get people that are saying, you always get people in markets that say, oh my God, this is the end of the world. There's going to be a credit event. That this is the end of the. Doesn't happen. Markets continue to go up and markets continue to go down, but net markets continue to go up.
Okay, so the interesting
I
thing
remember,
you just mentioned about like the housing market and the .com bubble and everything, like between like 4 to 6 months before that event occurred, had been a Fed pivot.
Yes, but for different reasons. For different reasons.
Right. For sure. I mean, the reason is the reason, but they are correlated.
I'm saying stop waiting for a crash. Stop waiting for something to break, because all too often it doesn't break. All too often the business cycle continues as a normal business cycle. And if you're waiting for a crash,
well,
you could wait.
It's like plan for the best and prepare for the worst, right?
Yeah, if you're waiting for a crash, you would have waited from 1987 to 2001, and then you would have waited from 2001 to 2008, and you would have waited for 2008 to 2020. And each one of them was caused by things that maybe, I mean, you could never have predicted COVID. Maybe you could have predicted the housing collapse. Maybe in hindsight, you could have predicted the .com crash. You certainly couldn't have predicted Black Monday and Black Friday from 1987. You couldn't have predicted. It was nothing was broken. The market just fucking crashed because it was so high. So I'm saying, if you're sitting here waiting for a crash, waiting for a Fed pivot, I mean, you could be as old as Peter Schiff when it happens.
Right. So I mean, the interesting part of it is whether or not you're sitting there and waiting for it. Like, it definitely is on a lot of people's minds. So like, bringing it to the awareness and explaining what it is that you just explained would bring a lot of people some peace of mind in a time of uncertainty that maybe they're not sure what is going on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you always get, like, I was with George Gammon on Patrick Bet-David show. I don't know how many of you remember. And he said by the end of this year, the whole economy is going to collapse. And he's got a very big following. And people, his following, genuinely believe that by the end of this year, unemployment's going to be 15% in the United States. And the Fed's going to land up printing more money. Okay, we're in September. I don't see any sign of it.
I mean, I'm definitely seeing signs of it through what I'm researching, but it's not at those levels. But they are, like, those metrics are increasing, but not in an alarming rate. Just
they always are, guys. They always are. That is the nature of markets. There's always good news and there's always bad news. Always.
For sure.
Yeah. And you need to choose. You need to choose. What do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to the good news or do you want to listen to the bad news? There's a couple of channels. You want to listen to the bad news? There's George Gammon. There's a whole lot of others. You want to listen to the good news? There's a whole lot of channels. Just pick your channels.
Well, I think it's important to hedge both together, really, so you can make an informed decision.
Yeah, exactly. You need to know what's going on. But again, I say to you, if you're sitting here waiting for the crash to buy, unless we get another COVID, and to be honest, even if we get another COVID, now we know how the government knows how to deal with COVID. So even if we had a lockdown now, I reckon the market would just shoot up. I reckon, like,
right. So I think that's the important thing that, like, we're maybe trying to allude to is that majority of people that are in the market won't be hedging their information of like, okay, I've got to learn this. I'm going to learn about the negatives and the positives, and then I'm going to make an informed decision, because they rely on people like yourself to do the majority of the work for them, so they can just watch a channel and get all their information and feel safe. So in that respect, then I think that it could be a good little mini segment to incorporate into the show, whether it's today or next week or whatever it is.
I can mention it.
Yeah, it's a reassuring tone, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to this sort of stuff because they aren't in the market in the way that we are.
Good idea. I'll mention it. Let's go. Let's move on to guys. We've got a few more minutes. I really want to get into like today's show. Today's alpha. Who's doing a show? Sheldon or Annie today? Who's
Annie?
Sheldon,
Bro.
are you doing a Annie?
Annie.
So okay,
yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about my show. What are we doing? What are we covering that's not already covered?
Ran, we have Genesis versus DCG. The news came out. So Genesis is suing DCG and its international leg DGIC for not paying the loans in a timely manner. So they, so yeah, there's
okay.
filed
No
a
one cares.
case in yeah, exactly. No one cares, right? Yeah.
No one gives a fuck. Next, please.
But Barry did that. There's a few damning things in that. Like, as in, he borrowed $500 million from Genesis, and he also borrowed 18,000 BTC on June 18th. This was after 3AC happened. So, like, obviously these people are trying to say he used it to prop up GBTC, but he did legitimately borrow all of this money. And it's quite. Yeah, I just don't think this is
$100 million worth of loan not paid. No one cares, right?
See,
but it's
it interests. See, run it interests Joe.
Well, like I think it's like it's massive news. Did a lawsuit that the chief executive of this GBTC Graysscale company is borrowing a lot of money that we didn't know about, and it's now out in public knowledge. I don't know. It's definitely worth a mention.
I mean, it's not a public company. It's not a public company, so they had no obligation to report to you guys. So can we please move on?
The other thing was the Arkham thing. I don't know. I kind of was thinking about it.
This is a big test. It's a big test for Arkham. If these wallets are accurate, Arkham's got a business model. If these wallets are inaccurate, then Arkham looks like a bunch of clowns. I think they're probably 90% accurate.
I think so, because by now an exchange would have probably said that this is like there's a wallet here with $21 billion in it, $16 billion of Bitcoin, and no exchange has A, claimed the wallet, and B, has not been priorly tagged to be an exchange. So like it's a sitting entity that is now listed as Graysscale, but we're waiting for people to come out and say, hey,
question.
Yeah, go.
Can I ask you a question? If you were, and I don't know the answer. If you were Graysscale and you had $20 billion worth of Bitcoin, right?
Yep.
And you were responsible for this, right?
Yep.
Would you put it all in one wallet?
No, definitely not.
Okay, good. Just checking.
But
I'm saying I don't know. I don't know.
But by the way, it's not all one wallet. I'm looking at the Arkham thing here. It's Graysscale is the entity, and it's linked. There's 5 different wallets here. 1AM, 1AU, like there's 5 different wallets.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a legitimate entity. And remember, they apparently found the ETH Ethereum Trust wallet a couple of days ago. So I don't know the bounties on these things. I don't know if they were listed on that intelligence store, whatever you call it. But yeah, you made a point. They could have legitimate business model if these are the wallets because it's important that they're out public, these wallets, I suppose. It's not good for Graysscale.
I was going to say, it's very important, isn't it, that people sort of know what the holdings are exactly. How hasn't this been clarified up until now?
But you don't have to. It's like any company, you don't have to disclose anything, but it's
But you want to know.
But surely in the process of them becoming or at least fighting for this ETF process, it's that information has to be public at some sort of point.
Yeah, but like you can. It's kind of weird now, is you can see every single transaction as that is the blockchain. You can see literally every single transaction that these wallets do, what money is being sent to and from the wallet. If someone makes a major buy of GBTC, you can sort of see it. Like it's all.
If you're a GBTC holder, that's great. You know that your dollars are 1-to-1 back all the time. Amazing.
Yeah.
Big. It's very good for Arkham. Very, very good for Arkham.
That's why I don't know. That's why I can't understand how it hasn't been done up until now, right? Like, how do people that are holding GBTC assess the 1-to-1 aspect if they don't know what they're actually holding?
Wait, what? You can say that about anything on any exchange, like any asset.
Fair enough. But also ever since FTX, we've seen exchanges also ramping up their so to speak, right? I mean, even then, no way to really 100% validate it.
Public audits, so we're all at risk, and we don't care. So
it's just because we want something doesn't mean we get it. It's that simple.
Yep.
Okay, what else? So Arkham is probably another story.
Yeah, I think the next big set of narratives and coins to watch. I mean, the list we probably get on 14th. This Andre guy from TWF, like he has like he tweeted about it as well today. He has a speech there, and he said he'll talk about upcoming trends that they're watching, or narratives that they're going to talk about, and whatever coins they're investing and stuff like that. So I think up until then we lack like a sort of central narrative, but then I think that could be like the next big kick of events where we know like what coins these guys are actually investing in or have invested.
Someone actually commented on one of my tweets, but it was in Chinese. It was basically a list of all of the tokens they've invested in, what the price the token was when they invested in, what price it is now. It was like a spreadsheet. It was very cool. I asked for the source, but he didn't reply. But yeah, these guys are.
Send it to me, or tag it in the group. Put it in the group.
Yeah, well, yeah, these guys are the cool kids in town. They're
And if he's giving like a speech on token token 2049, I mean, I'm pretty sure that day is gonna like have a lot of volatility for these coins, and that could be the next set of matters that we get depending on where their investments are.
Yep.
Okay, what else have they got? Arkham, DWF, ETH ETF, Michael Saylor news. What else? It feels very. It's okay. Doesn't feel like we're going to shoot the lights out.
This Apple news yesterday about the government, public workers, they're not going to allow them to use iPhone. Is a
why are
big
they doing that? What's the motive?
Wait, they're not going to. Wait, what is the news? Sorry, I didn't hear that. What's the news?
So, Chinese government said that the public workers cannot use iPhone now.
China
because
seeks
they
to
think that
broaden
Apple
iPhone
is
ban to state firm and agencies, not just government workers. Now it's state firms and agencies.
Yeah, and that is like.
Yeah, I don't know what's the driving motive there.
Oh, sorry. So the main thing there is that, I think someone posted a number of public workers, and like how many people are there in China who are working in the public sector, and that accounts to be a very large number. So that is going to be a hit for Apple as well.
Beware Apple shareholders.
Yeah, I mean that's normal though. I think the US did the same thing with Huawei. They actually said that Huawei couldn't supply anything at one point, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, they actually caught the daughter of the guy who's the founder of the Huawei, and because the U.S. government was claiming that they were using their phones for espionage and stuff. It was a big story back when that happened.
Wait, let me ask you something. TikTok what happened with TikTok? I remember the guy had to testify, and then like all the American senators asked very stupid questions, to show exactly how dumb they actually are, and to remind people why they shouldn't be paying them. I remember that. I remember like Maxine Waters. Like there's certain people who will always pivot to their topic, right? Like AOC, like the guys there to testify about fucking TikTok. She'll say, but what about people in the Bronx and women's rights? Like, who gives a fuck? We're talking about TikTok here, woman.
Yeah, I mean the last time I remember the ban on TikTok in the US was in like 30 odd states, but it was not for the public. It was only for government employees. So you could not you're not allowed to use TikTok on your government issued devices, and that was in like 30 odd states out of 50, and civilians still continue to use it.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's news. I don't really care if it's news, to be honest.
Can't you?
Yeah, but the only difference
hold on a second. What is this? Tomorrow we'll publish our biggest one yet. So Fred just posted something from Ibiza. What's Grizzly Research? Are they like
what's that other arcade? No, what's the other one? Yeah,
Helderberg. What's Helderberg? Isn't it? No, what's it called? Helderberg.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, those guys are just they're short sellers. I don't know why Fred is making such a big deal about this. I don't know who these guys are. Grizzly Research.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's in video. Okay.
These guys sound like these guys sound like they sound like Mark Cody's steroids.
Even though it has a Netflix logo in the bottom right.
Mark Cody's steroids, bro.
These guys work with like short sellers, and they bring up this news like in the lieu of a report. Not the company, and then comes back up.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Adani. That was another institute.
Yeah. What, has it recovered? Has the share price recovered?
Yeah, pretty much. But then again, not back to where it was before.
Bro, next time we just buy their when they publish a report, we buy.
Yeah, I actually bought a call, but I sold it a bit too early.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. I think that there's no more water in this lemon, no more juice in the lemon. Let's meet again tomorrow.
Yep.
Joe, I know you want to schedule meetings for me. Are you going to be ready tomorrow or not ready tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. It's just one. Yeah, we've two tomorrow.
So with Jill, just up to 15-minute slots. 15-minute slots, okay? In the morning, and then Josh, you need to schedule interviews with me for developers, right?
Yeah, we're looking at 12:30 tomorrow.
Okay, just be careful because I may have to do a show because as far as I know, there's no banter booked. So I may actually land up having to do a show. So try to do it morning. Try to do it like between 10 and 1 kind of thing. Because we also need to have a management meeting at some point. So
yeah, but you also have Sheldon, yeah? You also have Sheldon's meeting at like 11 something.
10 to 11. 10 to 11. I'm seeing Sheldon. Yeah, 10 to 11. I'm seeing Sheldon.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, we'll work it out. I mean, we'll work it out. Angela, is there any progress on Banter after Anatoly and Raj cancelled?
She mentioned Sailor.
Well, we're okay. First question: Do we want Solana if we don't get Toly?
No. If we don't get Toly and Raj,
no. I figured, and I've been pushing them hard, but they have like 1 million people involved in this booking, and all of it they approved, and so they were going to be on, and then they all of a sudden
okay. So
canceled.
question: Do we have anybody else for today or not? I'm just trying to plan my day for tomorrow.
Yeah, I get it. I'm hoping a lot for Michael Saylor. Do you know what time zone he is? Is he on the East Coast?
He's in the East Coast. He's in Miami.
Did you get any
okay, good.
Hopeful about Michael Saylor? Did someone respond from his team?
But yeah. I mean, I've been on these people. Like, it's not like I'm, I'm trying.
I mean, I'll do it, and it'll be a big show. But I hate interviewing Saylor. Like, I don't enjoy it because he talks a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very hard.
But it's a good.
It's very hard to interrupt.
But it's good timing.
It's very hard.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
It's great time.
But
it's great time.
It's a good timing to do it. Yeah. So and he has said that he can do what is it tomorrow? The 8th, Friday the 8th. But but I don't know if he's gonna be willing to do it. Between before
whatever we can
or at 9. Yeah. This is what I'm working on. So it might be today also, because I've offered like today anytime except for when we're live.
And then reach out,
so I'm working on it.
Reach out to Umar as well when I really want to get Umar on.
I'll try, but he has totally ghosted us everywhere. I've been on him like a lot.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you guys.